Hey guys, welcome to Whispers of Charleston. My name is Savannah, and today we're going to do one of the many haunted historical inns and hotels that we have here in Charleston. So we're going to start with the Meeting Street Inn, which is located in the historic district of downtown Charleston, and it is located at 174 Meeting Street. This building does have a really pretty pink hue to it, kind of like the Pink House. The building is unusual in its history that dates to 1837 when it was occupied by the Charleston Theater. In 1874, businessman Enoch Pratt bought the property and built a three-story brick building. It was built in the traditional Charleston style and had running water piped through the building. An innovation for its time, the building turned into the Meeting Street Inn in 1981. The property was acquired by the innkeeper, Francis F. Limehouse, in 1992, who made extensive renovations to develop the inn as a luxury hotel. It was built in the traditional Charleston style. Single home colonial style, Pratt divided the property into 4 lots and sold 2 lots to Adolf, and I'm going to do my best to pronounce his last name, Tiffenethal, who was a German immigrant. Adolf hired D.A.J. Sullivan to build a restaurant, a saloon, and a showroom for the German beer and German wines on the ground floor that were all imported, and the cargo holds from many different ships over the years. The second and third floors housed the family of the owner. The Meeting Street Inn in Charleston is known for its residence ghosts, particularly in the carriage house, with sightings of a shadowy pirate figure possibly linked to buried treasure, a comforting female spirit in room 107 who fades from the waist down, and a playful, active male ghost, with other reports of ghostly children or sounds of laughter in the halls, suggesting a mix of historical figures and unexplained phenomena. So in room 8, which is the man, more boisterous male spirit is reported here, known for startling men guests by slamming doors and moving chairs, and sometimes seen walking through walls, with sightings of just his upper body, so like his waist up. And then the pirate figure, a shadowy pirate-like figure, is sometimes seen in the main house, linked to stories of buried treasure and cries for water. There is an article in the Charleston the Charleston Magazine that does talk about this. I've only been able to find bits and pieces of that magazine. I'm still trying to find the whole article, but that was a little bit I could find. So then in room 3, the room experiences odd electrical issues with devices turning on or with music blaring when it is off, and then the lights tend to flicker or just turn on and off. So they'll turn on and then stay off, and then they'll just randomly turn off. And then the children's laughter. Some guests have heard children laughing and running in the hallways late at night, and then when they call the front desk and ask about this to require maybe some assistance, then the front desk will inform them that there are no children staying in the hotel, or if there are children, there's children staying in the hotel. They're in a totally different part of the inn. So that kind of makes them believe, maybe these aren't living children, and maybe those are children from beyond. Before the Meeting Street Inn became the inn, the back half didn't exist, so it was a 3-story home. Enoch's office, now room 8, was in the front of the home on the 3rd floor, facing out to the street, and other bedrooms were toward the back, and the kitchen and living quarters were on the bottom floor. One of the legends goes that Enoch Pratt and his family lived in the building, and while Enoch ran his business, his wife Maria would take care of the children and did all the house cleaning and cooking. One night Enoch came home late with red clay dirt on his boots. I hope that rings a bell for y'all. The local whorehouse, there it is known as the Pink House. The Pink House was a tavern and a brothel ran by Madame Mincy, who ran the Pink House. So as you, in previous histories, episodes when I did the Pink House, the road was a red clay road. So whenever the men visited, they would always track home red clay. So Maria had finally had enough of Enoch tracking home red clay and always smelling of other women. So it is said that Maria had confided in one of her girlfriends that if Enoch came home one more time smelling of another woman, and cigarette smoke, she would kill Enoch and take all the insurance money and go back home to Germany. So Maria let Enoch know that she had enough of him visiting the pink house and wanted him to spend more time with her and the family. So um, even without Maria making speculation, the word he was seen coming out of the pink house one night, so word to get back to Maria that sure enough, that was where he was at. So a few nights went by, and Enoch seemed to catch wind about what Maria had told her close friend. Then and kind of took into consideration about what Maria said about him staying home. Few weeks went by, and Enoch had told Maria that he had a business meeting in town and that he would be home late. So Maria seemed rather hopeful that Enoch was being honest, but with that lingering gut feeling that most women in that situation, I'm sure, would have, long behold, Enoch came home smelling of whiskey and another sweet woman's perfume, and that good old famous red clay on his shoes. So Maria sat and waited. She had a promise to keep, so she kept that promise. Maria sent the kids to her best friend's home for the night, seeing how they didn't have any family in Charleston because they were from Germany. So Maria did what Maria could. So Enoch was at his desk, up in his office, up on the third floor, finishing up some paperwork, when Maria walked into his office and simply said, "I told you, no more," and shot Enoch twice in the chest, and suddenly, and supposedly once in the head. There are records of Maria going back home to Germany. Rumor has it that she remarried and stayed in the Charleston area, but as Charleston lore goes, you'll never know 100% of the truth. The haunting in room 8 that some claims to be the man, as lore goes, that ghostly figure of a man who supposedly be that of Enoch. One story that includes the ghost of Enoch is between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. in the room 8. You can hear what sounds like a faint gunshot while there's no cars going by, and no one can for sure say what the loud bang is, but some say they think it's Enoch living out his last few minutes. Some say they see the upper half of a man's body, and I think the reasoning is for this is that the inn was actually elevated, so the actual levels of the inn were a foot and a half higher than what they are now. But there's a few records saying that the inn was lifted due to rising seawaters. Charleston's always changing in all the natural disasters, so Charleston is 8 feet below sea level, and that's just for downtown Charleston. Enoch solely haunts room 8, as room 8 was previously his office, and he was known for spending so much of his time in that office, so I'm not sure if I believe some of the rumors that Maria haunts the inn. I've never really heard her, but they don't know if it's maybe she's that friendly ghost. I think there was so much unhappiness in that home for her that she probably told herself she would never go back. There is a rumor that Maria supposedly haunt the inn and that she will walk around again from the waist up and make sure that the inn stays clean and that the beds are being made right and the kitchen stays clean and the food gets cooked to her liking. And another reason why I don't believe that she haunts the inn is because Maria never did live in the inn. She never actually saw the inn come to be. But who am I to say what spirits do in the spirit life? I think that there is maybe another story about this female ghost, but I don't really know how true the female ghost is because there's not a whole lot of information about her and there's not a whole lot of stories. I think there's maybe one story about a female ghost in the building and that's it. But and there's the same thing with the kids. So that is all the information I know about the Meeting Street Inn and the hauntings. Know that a lot of times when they do ghost tours, you can see, if you're standing on the other side of Meeting Street, looking at the inn, you can see lights flickering on and off. I have seen it a couple times. I've had a couple people who visited Charleston have come and told, or we were taking tours together, and they had told me they were staying in the inn, or they stayed in the inn. They've had experiences where they've heard the kids running up and down the hallway, and that they have heard the bedroom door slammed. but they haven't really heard the gunshots, so they're not. I'm not sure if they probably heard them or not, or we're in the hotel. We're in the inn. They were, but I hope y'all enjoyed that story. And I finally figured out how to put all the show notes in, so it's taking me long enough. Yay! All right. Well, thank y'all for listening, and again, I hopefully I'll get more of the weekly shows going. Alright, so with that, my little bats, remember, don't leave any stone unturned unless you're at the cemetery. Then you might not want to touch that. And thank you for listening to Whispers of Charleston, where the streets whisper, but are you listening close enough to what they have to hear? Alright, bye y'all.